All right, welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name's St. Kramer with the Oscar time, Mr. Alfredo, and we got Zach returning again with us. What is up, guys?
How you doing?
Doing good.
So appreciate you here, Zach. And then why don't you let everyone know where they can find you at?
Yeah, I'm Zach Milton Talks Movies. I'm on YouTube, and the Zach Milton Talks Movies podcast is on Apple, Spotify, wherever you can get your podcasts. Talking movies and having fun.
Awesome. Yep. And you go live at least once a week, right? Like
I do. Yeah,
YouTube?
I go live every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah. So definitely check him out. He's there's a link in the description. You go follow Zach, give him a subscribe. Super fun time. I love when I can catch your live shows, going in chat and saying hi and stuff like that. So
Nice,
you have a
man.
great community over there as well. So shout out to all your
Oh yeah, they're
community people.
fantastic.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, so-
And we'd love to have you join us.
Yes, there you go. So make sure you hit subscribe for Zach down there. But we are continuing our 2023 Oscar Best Picture nominations, and this episode we are talking about Elvis, the Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. Bro, right off the bat, I am not an Elvis fan. Just never been. So I really didn't care to watch this movie, and I gotta say it was a lot of surprise on how well it was kind of done. Like, holy crap. Like, dang. But we'll talk about some of the good stuff and then we'll get into some of the bad stuff a little bit. But right now, what are some of the good things you like, Zach?
Well, I mean, Austin Butler's performance. I've been hearing the hype about it. I've been hearing everyone talk about it. I've finally seen it for myself. And yeah, it's very good. I enjoyed it. I will say I liked this movie. I think I was a little underwhelmed by it just because of how hyped it was.
Yeah.
I liked Tom Hanks in it. I thought he was almost unrecognizable. I've been seeing online some people didn't like it. I thought he played the part well. I thought he was really good. He was one of the highlights, honestly, for me.
Yeah, sure. Oh, you Fredo?
From 1 to 10, I give it a 7, 8.
Okay.
Who was the guy who played Elvis? Austin Butler?
Yeah.
Okay. Phenomenal performance. He did amazing. He did awesome. Tom Hanks, little bit. It's just a Tom Hanks character. It's a Woody character with a German accent, I guess. And then it was hard for me to separate those two because there was a time a little bit of Woody came out of it, or just a regular Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was great. Don't get me wrong. I love the guy. He's awesome. But I really didn't like his performance in this movie. Overall, the Austin Butler was phenomenal. He did great. Yeah, I just don't. I like the movie. I did not like Tom Hanks. I wasn't so crazy about it at all. Austin Butler, I never heard of this guy before, and he did tremendously well.
Yeah, Austin Butler is kind of more of an up and coming. Like he's done other things. I believe he was. You
guys didn't watch Zoe 101?
Which one?
You guys didn't watch Zoe 101?
Oh yeah, no way.
No, you didn't watch that as a kid?
I did not.
Am I younger than you guys?
I think so.
I doubt it.
That's the only place I've really seen him from. Is he's been on a couple Nickelodeon shows, as like guest spots and stuff. So it's really cool to see him become this big actor now. But did anyone else at some points feel like they were watching Batman? Because Tom Hanks looked a lot like Penguin to me at times.
Yes, yeah, with the cane, with the weird circus cane. His I know it's a real person. Like the Colonel is a real person. That really screwed over Elvis. Like that, I know. But I liked his character. It was very over the top. It reminded me of Joey. What was his name? Or was it Joey Wiseau, the guy who made The Room?
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau. There you go. Yes, it reminded me of that because he's like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from America. What? No, you're not. Like, what are you talking about? And it was kind of like that kind of attitude, but also like just the at least Tommy like somehow has a bunch of money where he can kind of do whatever. Where this guy was like wants to get a bunch of money, but he knew how to be like a con man. You know what I mean? Like he would give it funny names like, I'm the snowman and this and that, but I was like, at the end of the day, you're a con man, so I liked his character. I really enjoyed it. It was hard because even with the prosthetics and stuff, it's just Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is he's bigger than himself at this point where like, like he's just so big. But I did like his portrayal of the Colonel, and I liked how he was the narrator of the story, because a lot of times it's always like Elvis and Priscilla, or Elvis and this, like it's always like different thing, but it's really, this is a story of Elvis and the Colonel, which I thought was kind of an interesting take on his life. Well,
it's told from the Colonel's perspective. He's the narrator of it.
How we say, because it made sense, because there's one part in the film where it skips over a big chunk of Elvis's life. Pretty much
that
from going to the military all the way to like kind of coming back and be a Hollywood star. All that time, like it was like what, a 5-minute montage of and it would make sense because the Colonel was obviously part of the Hollywood stuff, but they just skipped like a big chunk of the middle of his life. I felt
that's something I was feeling too when watching this, and it's kind of weird to say because it is 2 hours and 40 minutes long, but I felt like obviously there's a lot of life to put into that movie, but I felt like they were like snapshots that was just like click, 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 and just like moved really, really quickly. Like, all of a sudden he's in the military. Oh, he's back and he's got a performance in a hotel. What? It just happened so frequently back to back, and sometimes it was hard for me to kind of follow the flow of the narrative. I don't know if I was the only one who felt that or not.
No, I'm right there with you, because it felt like 2 different movies. It felt like 2 different. Yeah, even that just shows like how great Austin Butler was as this, where you're like, you need to play young Elvis, and now you need to play like beat down, big different mindset Elvis. You know what I mean? And I thought that was kind of like interesting, but it did feel like 2 different movies.
Especially when he started I don't know, near the last part of the film, when he started like just like having the pill problem. Like they didn't really build up to that. They kind of montage through like, oh, he's been here 1 year, 2 years, 3 years at the hotel, and then his wife's just like, the pills are what you love, and I was like, huh? Oh, okay, now he's an addict. Okay,
right.
Missed that part.
It definitely sped through a lot of the ending, which was interesting, because even like the character, like you see him like a little bit more beat up and tired, and then the movie kind of ends, and then it shows him with more weight, because obviously Elvis, gained a lot of weight because depressed and all that stuff. So it was like he went from like old, beat up Elvis to old, beat up and fat Elvis. Like like the night he died kind of thing, or the last performance.
It was kind of weird too, because like they had the real footage of the Elvis at the end, right? With when he was like big, and I think Austin Butler was also in the prosthetics and stuff looking big before they transitioned into that. But before that scene, there's like this montage of like newscasters and press people talking about like his waist side and waist size and how big he is. And then we see him. He wasn't any bigger.
No,
I was confused.
He was sitting in the car. The back
but he was the same size as he was before. And everyone's talking about like how much weight he gained. And I was like, really? Like, if you're saying that about him, I don't want you to see me.
Because definitely like even that too, the weight gain, and then they're like, oh, the mumbling on stage. I was like, I kind of would want to have seen that, but I get like they didn't want to show that because I don't know if it would have been too disrespectful or what, but it was like, but if you're gonna tell a story about a person's life, then you need to tell the story of this person's life, and that's part of it, of him being so drugged out that he's just mumbling and incoherent on stage, so
the movie was 2 hours and 40 minutes, and yes, I mean, if it was longer, Jesus Christ, man, Was
Yeah.
that one director from the DC Comics? The
Snyder cut.
Snyder cut? The Elvis
Zack
version of the
Snyder.
Snyder cut? No, yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
this
And then
movie
He says there's a 4-hour out there potentially
Oh
being
my
released.
gosh.
That's funny. This
Yeah.
movie reminds me of what's the one? A Knight's Tale. Has the medieval times with a modern music. This movie had the similar. It brought me back to that point where they had the old Elvis, but it had rappers. Or who was singing in it? Something Cat, Darby, not Darby. Something Cat.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
No, I mean in this movie they had
like newer like rappers.
Oh, in Elvis.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I had the newer rappers in this movie. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is trying to transition like old with new.
Doja. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Kramer.
The Doja Cat. Yeah, no, it was Luke.
Thank you, thank you,
Okay.
Luke.
Yeah.
But so I kind of, you really threw me back to A Knight's Tale where you had Queen, We Will Rock You, playing
Right.
Joust. You know, I'm like, okay, so is it old and new? Same thing with this, old and new. The cinematography looked like a fast forward animation, almost like swish here, swish there.
Yeah.
Look here, all different angles.
Yeah.
So it kind of like sped up the process. You almost, you probably were a little high when the guy was making his editing. Like, oh, this would be cool, man.
If you ever watch a Baz Luhrmann movie, this one's very much his style.
Yeah, this is my first one that I've watched.
Yeah.
Going back to your point, though, a little earlier, I did feel a sense of like protection around Elvis in this movie. I mean, I know his daughter, Lisa Marie, who recently passed away, unfortunately. I know that she was involved with the production and like with the movie. And I can't speak entirely to it because I don't know the Elvis story. This was my introduction to the Elvis story. But he was always the victim. There was always this sense of protection around him of like always have him victimized, always make sure that people know that he basically didn't do anything wrong. He was always the victim. So I kind of got that sense from what you were saying during watching the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hold on. So Derby said it's going to explain better and longer shots of the concerts and more end of his life story with the 4-hour the bass cut, right?
The longer shots of the concerts, that wasn't the problem for me, to be honest.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was always Elvis was like the victim, I know there's a lot of other things about Elvis that people argue about. And I felt like this one was just like it wasn't him. I don't know how true that was of it all and stuff like that, but it was just like he was who he was and played the music he liked and stuff like that. And Baz was like this big bad guy, they literally like had the big bad guy and the victim of Elvis, that it sucks. I mean, because he was told a bunch of times by different people. They're like, hey, maybe you need to, cut ties with this guy. But he was just such a good con man. And Elvis was probably, obviously, not the most educated person. He grew up in like, Memphis back in the day. So the education system wasn't that great, especially the area he lived in. So.
I mean,
it was easy target.
Maybe Elvis had a nice heart. Like he couldn't say to an old man, hey, yes, you got me here, you got me started. Now it's time to let you go. Maybe he couldn't do that. You just never know that aspect. Maybe he had a kind heart.
So I took it more as a little bit of that, but then obviously, the Colonel took advantage of that, but he also knew what he really wanted. He's like, yeah. You don't really care about the money. You don't care about anything else. You care that people love you while you're on stage.
Like and watch I can you give wiggle. That to you.
Yep.
Watch you wiggle.
So and I think he took advantage of that. He's like, I can get you what you want, and this is what you want. You want to be on stage and beloved.
So funny story about the Wiggle. How funny is it that apparently Forrest Gump taught Elvis Presley the Wiggle, which is from Tom Hanks, which played in this movie.
That is
I
funny.
didn't catch that. That's awesome.
I didn't even think about that either.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
So yeah,
Man.
that damn Wiggle. Every time I see him, like, Forrest Gump. Okay.
Forrest Gump. Yeah, but yeah, man, it has some issues. It had some, for me, a lot of issues. Nothing that was big enough where it, like, really pulled me out of the film. You know, once I stayed in the film and just, like, you know, stayed in there, I was like, okay, you know, I don't know how much of stuff is true. You know, I really don't know much about Elvis, so I don't know, like, did he like grew up on Beale Street and listened to all those Beale Street musicians, you know? So I don't know.
I mean, just imagine I don't want to say steal or stole. He maybe borrowed some lyrics from them, but he like made it into platinums and gold albums.
Yeah.
And a lot of the music that he learned from there, actually he like spun it out. And I had no, like you said, I don't know if he was actually, how much of it's true of him being like a church kind of guy.
I've heard that he started with gospel records. I've heard that before, so that made sense.
Okay.
And I know that he's been like, I don't know what the right word is, but like he's like taken black music. I know that that's been a big controversy for some people, and they played into that in the film too. So I get that. It's just like the story of him. I don't know if it's 100%. Like, I can't speak to it. Right. I will say though that I did think this movie, and like I said, this is like my first exposure to Baz Luhrmann. It was a little loud, a little flashy.
Yeah,
it was there were times where I just kind of wanted it to calm down.
Yeah. So, Baz Luhrmann did Romeo and Juliet, the Leonardo DiCaprio one from the 90s.
Okay, I have seen that.
That
makes sense. That makes sense.
Moulin Rouge. If you've ever seen that one,
I think I have that sitting right here. I haven't watched it yet.
Very flashy and stuff like that, and The Great Gatsby. So, if you so you can really, once you see those, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, the very flashiness and the loudness of it, you know, like
it'll make
stuff
sense.
like that. Yeah.
But some of the transitions are really cool. I'll say that too.
Yes. Yeah. Some of them are really, really cool. I like that, you know. But even the whole part that I thought was kind of interesting was there's like the political side, because he even asked me, do you want to be an entertainer or do you want to be political, or it was something along those lines, you know. And I think at first he's like, I don't want to deal with politics, but then obviously, you know, he kind of got into it. Obviously, for I don't know, they really don't give you a good reason why he kind of, like, it was more selfish reasons than actual, like, I care about what's going on in the world. Like, they hinted at it, you know. He did the protest song, obviously, but it wasn't, I don't know. For me, it was just like they blamed him. They're like, oh, he's the reason why, like, segregation and stuff like that. They kind of like put Elvis was kind of part of the poster child, like he's part of the problem and stuff.
Which was crazy to like watch that.
Yeah.
Like the fact that was an actual thing, like that. Like even the beginning when they're like, oh, we don't want to put them on the radio. No, he's white. Oh, he's white. And all of a sudden everyone was interested. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't, like.
They put that right out there, like clear, like plain as day, you know, like, yeah.
It was funny, but it was also sad that it was true.
Yeah, I know. You know, because they exaggerate it, you know. They're like he's white, and then everyone says like he's white, you know, and they're like,
yeah, it goes around the town.
Yeah, you know, but they're like, oh, now that music matters because, you know, Elvis is doing it, not before, you know, BB King and you know, Big Mama, you know, was doing it. But yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. I think they lightly touched on that, but for the most part, it was really him, and it was Elvis and the Colonel, and I liked that aspect of it, you know. It was like,
I did too,
you know, rather than getting into some of the other stuff, but I wanted more of that I guess I just don't know why they decided to skip over him becoming a big Hollywood star. You know, because isn't that kind of a
Yeah,
important part? He went
there
from
was
the
like a
military.
movie career that he
Yeah,
had too.
yeah, and he was like the biggest movie guy. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they went over that super quick. You know, like the whole movie career, they're like, oh yeah, he was great and stuff like that, and then we did it faster and cheaper, and just kept pumping him out. So it was like you did the whole like come back from the military, became a movie star, and then started dwindling as a movie star, and then that's when we pick up his story again. I was like,
Yeah.
that's a big
It
chunk.
sounds weird, but I almost feel like they should have like picked and choose what they wanted to use. Like kept
Mhm.
some like instead of using everything from his life, like focus on a specific period or periods and just kind of like I don't know, smooth it out more, I guess. It just felt
Mhm.
really choppy to me. It just felt really like we jumped around so much.
If anything, if that was the case, I think we would have like Elvis Presley episode 1, Elvis Presley episode 2.
Just making an HBO Max
Yeah,
series.
yeah,
A series.
right,
Yeah.
docu-series or whatever. But yeah,
I'd be
I
down
think,
for that.
yeah, actually, I would not be against it because this movie was pretty well. I enjoyed it. At first, I was like, oh, man, come on, I gotta watch this. And then 20 minutes in, I'm like, oh, okay. 30 minutes in, I'm like, I was hooked. I have to
Yeah.
admit, I was hooked. I'm like, okay, I have to continue watching this.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
never bored. I'll say that.
No, I wasn't either.
Mm.
Confused, yes, but never bored.
Confused.
Yeah.
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 If you don't follow it, you will lose track. And I
Yeah.
like how the fact that I've seen pictures of his mom,
Mm.
and I like how the fact that they like placed her so well, like her normal, not normal. They placed her so well. Looks like the actual her mom.
Looks like her.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
It looks almost exactly like her. And this isn't like there's one with Jesus Christ, I can't remember. It's some movie with Elvis Presley got kidnapped and what have you, and they had a picture of his mom. Like every Elvis movie I've seen, he loves his mom. And
Yeah.
it's like he would do anything for her. And it's weird. It's just weird how the similarities of like all these little movies I've seen and with this one, how close it is. So I'm wondering how you think it's based on true events, which is based on true events versus based on a true story or actual facts. I don't know what's the difference of the three. So
Mm.
I don't know how much reality is this or fake it is or the truth. So that's the only question I really have doubts on the part.
Yeah.
I just
hope
my
the Elvis kidnapping chapter is added back into the 4-hour cut because where was
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, yeah, I didn't know that. I don't know if that was
Elvis
probably
got
like a movie.
kidnapped?
Well, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's in there.
oh no, yeah. God, I can't remember what movie was that.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, they're doing an Elvis cartoon where he's like a secret agent or something like that.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
I think it's gonna be on Netflix. It's like McConaughey is gonna voice Elvis.
that's
Secret agent Elvis, something like that. But one thing I thought they did really well was at the beginning when they first show Elvis on stage and the women losing their minds.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
It was I thought that was so well done because it just like obviously that's true because we know like all the pictures of Elvis and all the women like losing their mind in the front, but just them going from like just sitting in their seats to like uncontrollable. It was really like kind of funny and kind of like and they focus on that one girl where she just you see it build up and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of like well done. That was good. And then he's talking about it the whole time, narrating like what's going on with her, and yeah, that was kind of like fun, for sure, definitely kind of fun, like seeing like just them losing their minds over.
It was like the
over him.
Sam Raimi girl screaming shots. Like they would just like zoom in. And...
yeah. But oh man, but
I like the performances too. The musical performances that Austin Butler did,
Mhm.
especially when he was performing in the hotel.
Yeah,
I liked
Yeah,
those
when-
performances.
he got into it. That was good. That was
Yeah,
good. You felt like you were there watching it. Like I know he said he spent about 2 years before even starting to film, just watching him, listening to him to get the voice down.
I believe it.
He's still talking like Elvis, which is kind of
Yeah.
weird.
I,
Like
I, I saw some interview he did
Yeah.
where he said like he basically like ruptured his vocal cords or like did something to
Mm.
his voice because he's been doing it so often, so long. But I don't
Yeah.
know how much validity that is to it.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is.
Right.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
movie was called Heartbreak Hotel.
Oh.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that? Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was called Heartbreak Hotel.
Was he? Oh no. Is that the one? Is that with Nicolas Cage?
Let's see. No.
No, I was thinking. I
David
know
Keith.
David.
David Keith's in it.
I don't think it's no one. No, I was thinking of a different one with. Well, it was a vague. Oh, it was like yeah. But yeah, I got to check that one out. Like, with him getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
Sounds silly. Fun silly.
It's Johnny, a 17-year-old boy, succeeds in kidnapping Elvis Presley and thus convince him to meet her mother, who is a fan of his, and he still has to stand difficult times at that moment. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a
Next
movie
week
that
on
I saw
Spoiler
when I was-
Kings, Heartbreak
Yeah.
Hotel.
There you go.
It came out in '88.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. When did he die? I can't remember. What year did it say he died in? At the
Who,
end of the
Elvis?
film?
Yeah.
It was earlier than I thought it was.
I think he was 42.
No, I thought it was 45.
No, he was 42.
I think it's
19
42.
77.
1977. Yeah.
Right, 1970s. Oh, I hope he got to see Star Wars at least before he went. What was the month?
August.
August.
16th.
So
Oh, he made it. Awesome. He probably saw
yeah.
it.
You probably
Yeah.
saw the first one.
I mean, yeah, he was stuck in his hotel room. What else was he gonna do? So,
Yeah.
There's Brian. Fredo Scrolls.
yeah, there you go.
Jesus,
That's
Brian.
a joke we make on our sports channel with Fredo. He
They're making
brings
fun
up
of
players.
They make fun of my age, man. That's all.
Well, we all talk about players from like now, and then Fredo brings up a player from the 70s, like
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gale Sayers. I was like, what? So,
Oh, jeez.
but yeah, definitely a good movie. Definitely a lot better than I expected. And I really wasn't expecting anything because it was an Elvis movie. I like I said, I'm really not a big fan, so I really wasn't whatever. But I think Austin Butler crushed it. He was great. It was like watching Elvis at some point. So like, wow,
Yeah.
it was really well done. Really well done. If he does win, I just want to watch the red carpet to see if he's still talking, because he won the Golden Globe, I believe, and he got up there and he still had the Elvis accent, which
Really deep
is
voice,
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it was kind of funny. But so we'll give this one a quick rating. A little bit different since it's an Oscar movie. We're not going to do a now, later, never like we normally do. We're actually just going to ask the simple question of, does this deserve to be a Best Picture nominated film? Zach, what do you think?
I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't in there, I would not be upset. It's in there. Okay. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah. Right.
I'm going to say leave it as also. Just leave it in there. It's I don't want to say eye opener, but it makes you wonder, makes you think how corrupted people are. Elvis fans probably love this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not an Elvis fan, but after watching the movie, I'm like, okay, it's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah.
A lot of, if he wins it, I'll probably wear a jumpsuit just for the show one time.
get an Elvis jumpsuit.
I'll buy like a jumpsuit and bedazzle it myself.
Nice.
Put spoiler
The
Kings
wig
on the
and
back.
shades.
Yeah, you get the big wig with the shades. Nice.
Yeah, I'll
Grow
probably
out your
pass-
sideburns.
I'll probably pass on all that. I'll probably wear the glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm kind of there too. I can take it or leave it. Like if it's on here, I'm like, okay, but like, I don't know. I don't know if there. I think there might be some better movies. I know why it's nominated. Austin Butler did a great job as Elvis, and you do not upset the Elvis fandom.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know. You do not upset the fandom because they will riot. And also I think the director Baz Luhrmann is definitely. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. But he's definitely like a big enough director to put up on stage and say like, oh, look at his fancy movie. And Austin Butler did a very good job as Elvis. I think those are really why. The story itself was okay. I don't think it didn't really like change too much of like how I see Elvis or anything like that. But the performances were fun, and that's what I expect from Elvis. It's like it should. Yeah, I want to see like a crazy cool performance, especially in the Vegas years. So. But it was somewhat emotional, but it didn't really like I never was like crying or upset.
Right.
But like Derpy said, he went to go see it in theaters, and there were many fans of Elvis crying. He was bawling their eyes out at the end, leaving eyes out at the end, leaving the theater. I teared up a little because of Elvis's choices in life.
Wow.
It's not even his choices. I think what he's forced to do almost.
Yeah. Like I said, he's always victimized. I found.
Yeah. I mean, once you get that big, you get people like that. Like Muhammad Ali is the same reason why he boxed for a lot longer than he should have, because so many people relied on him and kind of forced him to do it. Same thing with Elvis. Like really, it was only one man kind of conned him into keep performing. At least in a way he didn't want to perform, like he kind of like was that Homer kind of thing, like when Homer goes to hell and he's like, you like donuts? I'm gonna give you all the donuts you can have, like obviously he liked it, but that's what they kind of did with Elvis, like where the Colonel was like, you like performing? Well, I'm gonna make you perform twice a day every day for 5 years.
And he like completely manipulated him to like, oh, you don't want to go overseas. Bad security. Bad security.
Yeah.
You want to stay at the hotel for 5 years.
Yeah. I thought that was, also, that was a weird part where he gets so upset about security and throws the cane and stuff. I was like, what? Like,
Admitted.
I just didn't get that. It was like, he had to like hype it up. He's like, no one cares about him as much as I do.
Well, the reason why he did that is because he didn't want any iteration on like, okay, we got the green light to travel.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason he needed to make a big fuss. Like, how's it up? How security is. And he even showed it a little bit later. It's like, well, why can't we security? You know how he feels about security. Whatever. So I see why he was doing that. He made a huge fuss just for them to stay in US. Because he knows once he goes out there, he's deported forever. He's staying out there forever.
Well, the Colonel. The Colonel couldn't follow. The Colonel would have to stay in the United States, and then, so you can't cut the tie. But so that's our thoughts. So Elvis is nominated for Best Leading Actor with Austin Butler, obviously. What else is he? What is it nominated for? It's got a few, I believe, not too many. Cinematography. Up for that. Costume design, which
I can see costume.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but it's also like it's Elvis. It's like I can go to the Halloween store and pick up an Elvis costume. So it's like
but they probably like the end part of the scene, they replicated everything because you have them heavy Elvis singing behind the piano with the actor playing, so the jumpsuits look identical. So they try to make it real. Even the guy holding the microphone had looked identical. So of course the costume, it's going to be really, you don't want him wearing a white jumpsuit with blue limestones versus white jumpsuit with gold limestones. So I think the costume, it's you can pick up an Elvis costume in the Halloween store, yes. But I think the costumes are great.
Yeah, they definitely look good. They they made it look like the actual stuff he wore.
Yeah, down to the AC/DC jumpsuit he had in the back of the limo towards the end of the movie.
Yeah. It's also up for film editing, which is interesting because we were talking about some of the decision they decided to go with the editing. So,
Well,
also
Don't Look
makeup
Up got a nomination too that one year, and I thought their editing, I didn't like it at all. So what do I know?
well, also that Queen one got
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
Bohemian Rhapsody. Great, but it was edited so weird and had some weird edits and stuff, and I think it won for best editing or something like that.
think
Which
you're
is
right.
insane. Yeah. Let's see. Elvis is also up for makeup and hairstyling, which, again,
his hair looks fantastic.
Yeah. Elvis has to look like on point, and they really did. Even early Elvis with some of the makeup, and then later Elvis with the big crazy hair and stuff. So, and that is, and then best picture and production design. I can see that again. Yeah, so it's got a few. Sound. What's the sound like? In there now, and that's it.
Wow.
So it's got a few. I lost count, but yeah, not too bad. I can see it winning a couple. I can see Austin definitely winning. He's going against Colin Farrell, Brandon Fraser, Paul Mescal, and Bill Nighy.
Brandon Fraser, really?
I'm rooting for Brendan Fraser.
I'm rooting for Brandon Fraser too.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, the whale was
that poor guy got blacklisted. Man. It sucks.
Yeah.
But also his performance in The Whale, like with Elvis, Austin Butler was very good. Obviously, he was great, but he had a lot of things surrounded him. Like he had other, I felt like he had a lot, like with the editing, with the style, with the other actors, with The Whale, there was other actors, but Brendan Fraser carried that on his back. And if you really think about it, with the suits and the prosthetics that he's in, it's his face. He does everything with his face. And the emotion and stuff that he brought to that was, I'm rooting for him to win. I think he was excellent in that film.
Yeah, same. I definitely agree. Also, Elvis is like, you're able to go back and watch years and decades of Elvis stuff. Like Brendan Fraser is like here's this character, figure it out. And he obviously did a good job.
You're in every scene.
Yeah.
So Butler had someone to learn off of, something to learn.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I wouldn't be upset if he won. I thought he was very good in this movie.
He was really good.
Yeah. I think it would be either, if it's not Brendan Fraser, it's going to be Austin Butler. That's what I think. But definitely, I think the Oscars, if they're smart, they know who to win. It's like, and right now Brendan Fraser is having his renaissance, and everybody loves him. So don't mess that up. Don't mess that up, Academy. But we'll see, because they always tend to mess things up. But cool. That is it for this episode of our Oscar review nominated movies. Again, thank you, Zach. We appreciate you coming out, hanging out with us, man. Appreciate it. And
man.
Where can people find you at?
Yeah, no, well, thank you very much for having me. I had a blast. This was so much fun. I'm at Zach Millen Talks Movies on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on TikTok. I'm trying that out, dipping my toe in the pool. And I got Zach Millen Talks Movies podcast. Anywhere you can find podcasts. I do a live show every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, going through movie news and just having fun chatting with you all. And then I put that in the podcast. So you can find all of that wherever you can get podcasts. And I'm on YouTube.
Yeah. Cool. So I'll make sure the link is in the description. Go check him out. Go get him to subscribe. He's super great. All his community is super great. So go check out his channel, and make sure you check out our channel too. If you're the first time checking us out, hit that subscribe button. We're doing a bunch of stuff. We're also doing our Oscar picks. So the past couple of years, we decided to make a little contest, and whoever picks the most winners, we're gonna give like a little gift card or something like that. So I'll put the link to this here as well. So you just go in the Google Drive, or not Google Drive, but Google form, and you just click who you think is gonna win. If we get at least 10 people, then we'll do a giveaway, or the winner wins a gift card. But yeah, make sure you check that out. It's super fun. Kind of gives you something to look at while you're watching the Oscars. You're like, hey, I picked them to win, so it'll be kind of fun. Yeah. So check that out as well. I'll put that link in the description as well. But that is it for this episode of the Spoiler Kings. Thank you guys, and we will see you guys in the next review. Later.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.